See, the irony is in my last video, I gave a big speech about perfectionism and how we shouldn't let it rule us. And here I am just being a perfectionist in this moment. Hello, lovelies. It's Davina Daras. Today, I want to talk about being vulnerable with yourself and how you let go by letting it out. I feel like a lot of us spend our time running, but in specifically running away from ourselves, whether that be in relationship, in career, actually uprooting and physically moving somewhere else, what have you. We spend a lot of our time chasing something. And I think we confuse chasing with following our dreams. But they are two very different things. Because when we spend our lives constantly chasing, we are operating from a place of scarcity. We are operating from a place of fear. We are telling ourselves that what we have in the present moment isn't good enough. It's not worthy. And so we have to do something bigger, we have to be something greater. Now, of course, the situation varies depending on what's going on. If you are in a pretty rough life situation, then it makes sense to want to pursue something else. But I'm talking about what's inside of you. I'm talking about you putting so much value into external things because you can't make peace with what's within. The people that I had in mind when I was writing this for my article, when I was coming up with this idea for this video, were people pleasers. You know, the people who have been running their whole lives, who have been following the lead, playing by the rules because they feel like if they do that, then they'll get validation and people will like them and people will see them. The people who grew up in survival mode, the people who grew up having to create a ton of walls because those walls at that time kept them safe. But as we grow, as we get older, those patterns become a part of our identity. It becomes a part of the story we continuously tell ourselves. And when we get older, it starts to get a little bit more rocky. There's more friction. And we are faced with the truth that this is not us, this is not who we are, and something needs to change. And I think things have to get dicey before they can become clear. I think we really have to fumble and fall in order to figure out what we truly want. If you're someone who is used to everyone else making decisions for you, it's normal that it feels natural and it feels comfortable to just do as you're told or to follow a roadmap, to do what other people are doing, to always look to other people for answers, to see what other people's reactions are, what are people saying, how are they taking what I'm giving out. That's a normal response when you have been told what to do your whole life, or you've always been told how you feel. If you have never felt safe using your voice, if you have always felt like shrinking yourself was the way to get by, was the way that people would give you the attention you desired, I get it. But just because something feels comfortable does not mean it's going to make you happy. And it doesn't mean it's going to make you a good person. Because deep down, you're going to harbor resentment. You're going to get angry at everyone around you because in reality, you're mad at yourself. Because when we do this, we are abandoning ourselves. And we look to other people to fulfill that void that was created from self-abandonment. The funny thing is, the only person who can fill that void is ourselves. But because we're not used to being confident, we're not used to expressing ourselves, we feel like we don't know how to go about that. The trick is to just take the first step, just like every baby has to do. Every baby has to crawl before they learn how to walk. They walk before they learn how to run, and everything else. It's the same thing. We have to be patient with ourselves and we have to initiate the process of healing. We have to acknowledge that hurt inner child inside of us that deserves all that love and that attention and validation. You know, we have to acknowledge the pain that we once carried and say, it's okay, I'm not 5 years old anymore, I'm a grown-ass adult, whatever age you are. You have to acknowledge that hurt part of you and say, I've got you. It's okay, we can do this. I'm gonna help you grow up. I'm gonna help you become strong. I'm gonna help you find your voice again. And you do this by just diving into the things that you love and being honest with yourself. But it also takes time to not react combatively. It's very common when you are a people pleaser, you're someone who's always used to being avoidant and running away. It's very common when you actually do be honest and let out how you actually feel, it will come out kind of like defensive because it's a part of yourself that you have been repressing for so long. That energy just doesn't know what to do. So when you finally let it out, it's just like, it's like, I don't want this, or this is what I really want to do, or this is who I really want to talk to, or blah, 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 because you've just been adapting for so long. You've been a chameleon for so long. That part of you that's just been like building in there, when you let it out, it's like letting a cheetah out of a cage. And this tends to be more chaotic than it is beneficial, because even though it's great to let it out and it does feel good once it finally gets out, the turnover of that is that you're not going to feel good if what you said or did is hurting people around you. Because even if it's actually how you feel, you don't want it to come out in a way that's nasty. Because at the end of the day, people don't know what we're thinking, what we're feeling. It's up to us to embody and to voice that. And it takes getting comfortable with ourselves first. We have to learn how to get vulnerable with ourselves first. A lot of reflection, a lot of honesty. It really starts by just looking yourself in the eye, in the mirror, of course, and saying, this isn't me. I don't want this. I don't want to carry the weight of this anymore. I don't want to repeat this story to myself anymore. I just want to do the things I love, and I want to be myself. I want to express myself. And it's really as simple as that. But going about it is the difficult part. Getting into your own rhythm can be very hard when you are not used to it, when you're not used to thinking for yourself, when you're not used to making decisions for yourself, when you are used to just paying attention to everybody else, letting everybody else be the director, and you're like, well, I'm just the character, and you get to tell me what to do, and you get to operate me. There is a lot of pros to not being in control all the time, but if you are never in control, the biggest con is that you lose yourself, and you end up building this identity based off of what everyone else wants, what you feel everyone else needs, and you become so disconnected that this way of being feels the most natural to you. It's hard to feel embodied in yourself. It's hard to think for yourself and be like, this is what I actually want, this is what I don't, because you're so confused all the time. You're filling your head with everybody else's voice, not your own. And the biggest question of all is, why did we feel the need to abandon ourselves in the first place? What took place that made us get there? What happened? Was it a traumatic life event? Was it a person? Whatever it was, we have to return to that source. We have to go back to that wound that we've buried and ignored for so many years. We have to go back to that fragile part of ourselves that we deemed as broken. We have to figure out where things went wrong. How did the puzzle break, and where are all the puzzle pieces? How do we put them back together again? It is a very long and uncomfortable and very messy process. No one wants to acknowledge trauma. No one wants to acknowledge pain. No one wants to feel like they've abandoned themselves, and that maybe all of the issues in our life, all of the missing pieces, all of the failed relationships, all of the careers that didn't work out, the reason why we have to keep constantly moving and changing friends and doing all this stuff, really it stems from abandonment, from us abandoning ourselves. And that is a very deep pain. That is something that hurts, to look your inner child spiritually in the eye and say, I'm sorry for leaving you, because it fucking sucks. But what we have to get over, we have to let go of self-shame. It's not our fault. Whatever happened, happened. You know, we were young, or whatever the situation was. We were just trying to survive. We were trying to protect ourselves. We didn't mean to. We have to let go of that shame of other people hurting us or shitty life situations happening. It's not our fault. It's not because we are bad. It's not because we are wrong. We have to let go of this belief that is telling us this happened, or these are all this way because of who you are. That's not the truth. The thing about trauma is not a life sentence. Trauma does not define who you are going to be for the rest of your life. It's just an event that took place. And we can't control life all the time, unfortunately. We can only control how we respond to it. We can only control how it affects us. Of course, we can't shut off emotion. We can't deny when we are hurt or when we are angry, but we have the power to feel whatever it is we need to feel, let ourselves process, let ourselves know that it's okay to be in pain for a little while, but then to eventually let it go. We have to be in it. We have to ride the waves. We have to be in the ebb and the flow in order to get back to a place of stability. And that's what being vulnerable with yourself is all about, is facing that difficulty, going through those hardships and being completely present amongst them, allowing yourself to receive help, to receive care, and not viewing yourself as broken just because you may have taken a couple steps backward due to whatever reason. Being vulnerable is very courageous, and allowing yourself to go through whatever the fuck you need to is the most courageous and self-loving and brave thing you can ever do for yourself. And it's also admirable. It's something inspirational towards others, because so many of us just numb ourselves, shut ourselves off, and have this mentality of like, I'm fine, life is just chaos, life is just shitty, and I'm just la 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 la. When you see someone else speak their truth and use their voice and say, hey, this thing is happening, ow. When you hear people say, this thing is happening and it's shitty and it sucks, and I do need some help right now, but it's gonna be okay. You do inspire other people, because then other people can identify with that experience and they're like, yeah, this thing sucks. I went through a similar thing, but you're giving me hope that I can get through it and that there really is a light at the end of the tunnel. Because there is. Sometimes we're walking in the dark for a significantly long amount of time, but there is always light at the end of it. You are able to heal that hurt version of yourself. You are able to allow that part of yourself to grow the more you accept yourself. And when you accept yourself, you rebuild trust, and you are able to love yourself from a place that is completely authentic. You will learn how to not be in fear of the things that you love. You will not deny the parts of you that uniquely make you who you are. Because in reality, our inner child is just our most uninhibited version. The part of ourself who we feel we truly are at our core, the part that's just alive and is just here, and you just feel like your eyes are wide open. You just want to be here. You just want to have fun. You don't want to think about tomorrow. You don't want to stress about yesterday. You just want to be here. The thing about coping mechanisms, the coping mechanisms that we developed when we were young, what we had to develop in order to survive, it's about learning how to unlearn those patterns, learning how to go about things differently as you heal that big wound. As you continue to heal, those patterns, you won't need them anymore, because they won't make sense, because they don't align with you. You're not trying to hide away anymore. You're not trying to shield yourself. You just want to be who you are. So it doesn't make sense to carry these coping mechanisms anymore, because they're not going to bring you to that place of truth. They're just going to hold you back. You're going to view them for what they truly are. You're going to see them more as anchors and not as something that is pushing you to go forward. And the biggest, most scariest step in healing this wound is facing our inner demons. It's facing that monstrous voice inside of our head that has been holding us back for so long. It's facing that darkness and saying, I see you, I acknowledge you. In reality, you're just like a little kid screaming and crying for help. I'm not going to deny that you're there, but I'm going to acknowledge the fact that I am in control. I'm not a kid anymore, as I said earlier, and everything is going to be okay because I've got me. I've got this. And when you're able to do that, when you're able to face the darkest part of yourself from a place of compassion, from a place of love, and acknowledging that that's really just the part of you that's been wounded for so long, and to not shame yourself for feeling this way, that's how you're able to really let it go. You're holding space for yourself, and that's how you work through it. In order to overcome an obstacle is through it. And in doing this, you're going to create peace within the body. Because in order to trust yourself, in order to know yourself, you have to know that your body is a safe place for you to be. You conquer your greatest enemy by not being an enemy to yourself. You have to learn how to be your bestest friend, your greatest lover. You have to learn how to be your greatest teacher. You have to learn how to be your biggest cheerleader. You really have to get out of your head and into your heart. I once read a quote that said, "The strongest person is a person who is willing to walk through hell with their heart wide open." The one who acknowledges that this is where we pull strength from. This is where we pull courage from. It's not by being closed. It's not by denying ourselves of what we feel, but it's being open, being receptive. And even when things shitty happen, it's knowing you trust yourself, you believe in yourself, and you know you can get through it. You know that you don't deserve to be mistreated. You don't deserve to always be in survival mode. You deserve to thrive. It's knowing that you deserve more and going towards those things, again, from a place of self-love and self-acceptance, not because you're trying to prove yourself, not because you're trying to show people, oh, hey, you didn't hurt me. I can never get hurt. I am unbreakable. I am this force of nature that is unfeeling. Being strong isn't denying what you feel. It's allowing yourself to feel those things and then eventually letting them go. The strongest man, the strongest woman is the person who just acknowledges that they are human. And when you speak your truth, it might be uncomfortable in the beginning. You might lose people along the way, but that's okay because you're getting rid of the people who don't align with you and you're making space for the people that do. And when you allow yourself to be in difficult situations instead of just hiding from them all the time, trying to avoid them all the time, trying to just always be, always tiptoe and always be whatever because I don't want to set anyone off. When you allow yourself to be in those difficult situations, you will start to trust yourself. You will start to know yourself. It won't be so scary anymore. It won't be so much of a big deal anymore. Even if you get a bad reaction, even if someone else blows up, if you feel solid and secure in yourself, it won't faze you the same way. You'll just be like, okay, whatever. You'll be neutral. You'll just say, that's how this person feels. This is how I feel. It's a different opposing opinion, but it's okay. The world does not end. Not everyone is meant to agree with you. Not everyone is meant to align with you. Do you know how boring the world would fucking be if everyone just agreed with each other? I would be so bored if everyone agreed with me all the time. I'm someone who loves to learn and I'm someone who loves to expand my own mind and to just see how everybody else does things. So I don't want people to always be like me, but I also don't want to be like everyone else. I like the things that give me individuality. I like the things that make me me, because that's how I have a relationship with myself. If I'm to try to follow everyone else's footsteps all the time, I lose myself, I become bored with myself, and then I get mad. You take back your power by using your voice. You take back your power by letting it out. All people pleasers, runners, avoidance, followers, we're all just people who are carrying the weight of so much, and we're carrying the weight of things that happened years ago. We're holding on to traumas that don't even exist anymore. When you think about it, when you stop and really think, you're like, that's just a memory. None of that is actually happening anymore, but it lives on in me. And it's up to me to let it go. It's up to me to acknowledge the part of myself that I ran away from and to say, hey, I'm here now. We've got this. I'm sorry this shitty thing happened, but we don't deserve to hold this anymore. Fucking let go of this shit that happened 20 years ago, okay? And if there is someone or something in your life that is holding you back and keeping you in this place, whether it's a family member, it's a lover, it's a best friend, because that's a big factor as well. Sometimes we will have these physical anchors in our life, these energetic anchors that are reminding us of that trauma and that response, telling us who we are, making us feel small. We have to let go of that as well. We have to be unafraid to use our voice with those people or in this whatever situation. We have to be unafraid to step up to the plate and talk to the people who are keeping us in the past and say, this isn't me anymore. I don't want this anymore. This doesn't resonate with me anymore. And if you are someone who can't grow with me, if you can't grow out of this pattern with me, then we're not going to be in each other's lives anymore. And sometimes it's hard, especially if it's a family member, if it's someone you really, really love, if it's someone you've known for many, many years. It can be hard when you have outgrown a pattern and you're also ready to grow, when you're ready to not stay in this small, hurt, guarded version of yourself. It takes so much courage to look at yourself and say, this life isn't me anymore, and I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna create a life that does align with me. Because the beautiful truth about life is that life is not about suffering, life is about becoming. The more we let go, the more we express ourselves, the more we just do the things that we want to do for ourselves, the more of a chance we have at becoming who we truly are. The person that has always been inside of us. The person who we've spent years looking for externally when really they were right here this whole time. So I am running out of time. I do have to go, but I feel like I said all the things I wanted to say in this video. This is something I'm very passionate about because clearly it's something that relates to me. You know, I'm someone who grew up as the baby in a very small family, in a family that endured poverty and trauma. So I'm speaking to myself right now, and that's how I'm able to share this with anyone who's watching. So the biggest question is, do you want to continue living in contentment, or would you rather live in happiness? Do you want to keep being a version of yourself that is defined by everyone else's standards, or do you want to take your power back and be courageous enough to redefine yourself to your own? So you got to stop running, baby. You got to stop hiding. It was never about being at war with the outside world. It was never about the battle that you harbored with other people. It's always been about the battle that you have created within yourself. And it's a shame, because you should never have felt like you had to be at war with yourself in the first place just to be seen as a person. You have never been the problem. Life isn't perfect. Life is more often unfair, but it doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you. And it doesn't mean that you should have to water yourself down just to get by. So put down the weapons, my love. It's time to stop fighting yourself and to start being the person who's worth fighting for. That's all I have for you today. I thank you so much for listening. I appreciate you so much for being here. Until next time. Bye, lovelies.